Okay, I want to thank you guys once again for joining me here for another informative conversation. My name again is John Sanchez. I'm a cannabis and hemp educator. My goal here is to give you guys the tools needed to not be lied to, save time and money when choosing a hemp or cannabis product to heal yourself or your family. Thanks again for joining me. Let's go ahead and get into it. So what we're going to cover today is synergy. And synergy, how it pertains to phytocannabinoids, terpenes, and the endocannabinoid system. So first of all, what is synergy? Synergy is basically stuff working together. An ecosystem can be considered a synergistic effect. Things within a system in their own space operating in a cooperative way. You can look at a few different words, and that's kind of what it is. So like management, productivity, partnership, strategy, together, cooperation, teamwork, collaboration. So it's all working together. So, and then something you need to understand about the endocannabinoid system, it is that it is very complicated. In fact, modern science is still trying to figure out exactly what's going on. Every year or two, a conversation comes up where there's a debate on whether or not there's a third receptor within the system. Right now, we know of CB1 and CB2, but some doctors and researchers believe there is a CB3 receptor, but we still haven't found it. So we're still learning so much about it. It's pretty amazing. But that shouldn't scare you. We've been interacting with the endocannabinoid system for centuries, with our foods that we eat and the chemicals that we take into our body. So, we do know about the endocannabinoid system. We do know that it is basically the management company of the body. It is managing communication within the body and in between all the different systems, cells, and receptors. This is an important thing in obtaining homeostasis. Homeostasis is this fancy buzzword that's really popular right now, but what it means simply is the balancing of the body's systems or energies. Now, homeostasis is really important when healing because when we reach homeostasis, our bodies can more easily regenerate themselves and their cells that are within them. So homeostasis is very important. A lot of us aren't in homeostasis or have a hard time getting there because of the environment that we live in. There's a lot of chemicals that we're exposed to on a daily basis, and the food that we eat tends to not have as many minerals and nutrients as we need. So we find ourselves a little bit out of whack. But that's where phytocannabinoids and terpenes can come into play and help regain balance within that system, regaining the synergistic effect and allowing you to heal. So within the hemp and cannabis industry, we rarely see the word synergy. Why? I'm not 100% sure. What we usually see is the term the entourage effect. So what is the entourage effect? It's actually a term coined by Dr. Ralph Meshulam back in the 90s and then made popular by Dr. Ethan Russo in a few, back in 2011, I believe. Basically, its explanation of, initially it was termed to explain the modulation or changing of effect of THC when other cannabinoids and terpenes are present within the body. So that was the initial test. But we can easily see that THC and CBD are extremely similar, with an oxygen bond really the only difference. They're extremely similar. So we can see that CBD is modulated the same way. It changes its effect the same way. You would see this with a full spectrum product versus an isolated CBD product. You'll probably see a stronger effect from a full spectrum or one that has all the cannabinoids present in a whole plant product. You probably see a stronger effect because of this happening, this modulation. But as we begin to more understand the science of cannabinoids and terpenes, personally, and others realize this as well, is that the entourage effect isn't an accurate way of explaining what's going on. Because it's basically saying that one person, like this guy in the front of this picture, or one chemical is the only thing causing effect and modulating the rest of them, or modulated by the rest of them. And that's not necessarily the case. It's actually this synergistic effect between all components within the plant or whatever you're taking that causes that effect onto the body. And so with phytocannabinoids, we're feeding the endocannabinoid system to help regulate and balance that. Phytocannabinoids and terpenes, they all interact together to create that. Our endocannabinoids do the same thing. They just do it better. That's why our endocannabinoids will only need an anandamide and 2-AG. And so don't worry if I'm saying things that don't make sense. I'm going to make sure that I cover cannabinoids, the endocannabinoid system, and as much information as I can put out there and that everyone needs to make sure that they understand what's going on and that we can all be in a better place. But anyways, back to what I was talking about. So the entourage effect may not be explaining the whole effect that's present within the phytocannabinoids, terpenes, and the endocannabinoid system. A better term potentially is the ensemble effect. This was actually, I heard this in a talk. I don't quite remember the doctor. I'm going to try to look it up and I'll put it in the link in the description. But I don't quite remember who said it. But he had suggested that the ensemble effect was a more accurate term. And it does make a lot of sense. Like ensemble meaning musicians working together to play a piece of music. Not one overpowering the other, but them working in symphony or harmony together to accomplish this. That seems like a slightly more accurate way of explaining what's going on with the system, the ensemble effect. So now this is the point where I want to talk about isolate CBD. Isolate CBD is the strongest issue or lie, I guess, in this industry. Because when you isolate the CBD, you remove the ensemble effect. So for some people, they might get some relief from an isolate product. Only a few people, where the majority of everyone else won't get any effect at all, or a very small amount. And that's a problem, especially with something so new. We want to be getting an effect. Sometimes it's really expensive. We want to be getting an effect. A CBD isolate's not going to quite do that for you. For some people it would, but for others it's not. And it's really important to understand. We really need to start paying attention to what's going on and what is actually happening. This is why I'm doing these videos. This is why I'm providing this information, is so everybody can know what's going on. We're going to be doing a lot more talks. We're going to be delving into a lot more different topics, as well as doing webinars and making sure that everybody's up to speed on what's going on. So the ensemble effect, it's happening. When we take cannabinoids and working within our system, it's happening. We want that effect. It's going to help us achieve homeostasis a bit quicker. So let me give you some tips on how we can increase the ensemble effect when you're using hemp and CBD or cannabis products. Cannabis products don't have as much because you got a lot of cannabinoids and terpenes present. More so for CBD products, especially for places that aren't quite up to the times and they're only selling isolate CBD, or a company or place that they aren't up to times either and they're only selling isolate CBD, and that's the only thing you can get at the time. I mean, you can order stuff online, but I understand personally I don't like ordering things, so do what you got to do. But let's see what kind of strategies we can come up with and help you out with that. So the first one is going to be use a full spectrum product whenever possible. Yeah, like I can't say it's possible all the time, like for what we talked about before, and that it might not be available where you are. You might need to take drug screenings and can't have any THC in your system because even though there's a very small amount in a full spectrum product, it can build up over time and come up in a UA. So it's something you want to be mindful of. And so, but if you don't have that problem, most definitely acquire a full spectrum product. It's going to probably work a lot better for you than a isolate. So do it. you know, and how it'll be labeled on the shelf would be full spectrum or a whole plant. Always, before you buy a product, ask to see the certificate of analysis so that you can make sure it is actually full spectrum. On the certificate of analysis, and I'll be going over that in a later video on how to read the certificates of analysis and making sure that you don't get confused while you're looking at it, because sometimes the different laboratories, they can look a little different from laboratory to laboratory, so you want to pay attention to that. Really look at the cannabinoids, make sure there's more than CBD present. There's going to be a very small amount of THC, a very small amount of CBN, very small amount of CBG. Most likely those are the 4 that are going to be present, but in small amounts. But still, those small amounts can cause a modulation and improve the effect. So really want to pay attention to that. Always ask for a COA. If they don't have a COA for that product, consider not shopping there. Next tip is add cannabis-derived terpenes. So we live in a really beautiful time. We live in a time where there are some states here in the United States that are legal for recreational use of cannabis. In those states, people are starting to extract just the terpenes from the cannabis plant. Those can be sold as regular goods. They don't have any cannabinoids in them, any plant-based cannabinoids, so they can be sold as regular goods. They're just terpenes. So you can go online and buy cannabis-derived terpenes, add a little bit to your oil, like start off with 10 to 20 drops, maybe a little bit more, depending how you're feeling. What it's going to do is it is going to make it a bit flavored. Like it's going to taste like plant. It can be a little bit pokey on the, like a little bit like small, tiny needles poking your inside your mouth, not in any painful way, it's just like kind of pokey, like a little prickly, and that's from the terpenes. So you don't want to put too much because of that. You'll start getting your mouth a little itchy and it won't feel as good. So definitely not too much, but really that's the way to go. Like if you're in a place where you have only CBD isolate, order terpenes, even if they're plant derived. Make sure you're getting not something weird, but get something that you're comfortable with and try it and see if it improves your products, improves the effect on your body. It's really good. It's really good. I've helped some people and they did that and they saw a huge difference. So it's important. So, but if you can't order terpenes, maybe you can get some essential oils. And essential oils, I'm not an essential oil person. There are some extremely high quality brands out there. You're going to want to look for something that's pharmaceutical grade or they call it therapeutic grade, pure oil. You can use a little bit of, I don't ever suggest taking oil. I would put it in a capsule. But you could put a little bit into your tincture and then put it in some capsules, or even just give it a good shake, and just a little bit and take it like that. Or you can diffuse it, like rub it on your neck and your jawline, breathe it in, get those terpenes into your body while, like right after you take your CBD or just before, and you might see some differentiating effect. It's a way to kind of dial in what's going on for you and maybe increase the effect when you feel like it's not doing what it needs to be doing. Most definitely, black pepper, copaiba, they all have beta-carotene. That's really nice on the body, and they tend to work really well with cannabinoids because they're very similar. But I'm just giving you tools. I'm not trying to make it to where you're needing to do all of these things or whatnot. I'm just trying to give you ideas and tools so you can approach the situation on how you want to do that. So thank you. And then definitely next tip, eat more color in your food. Like, so you might have to, like, if you're dealing with something intense and you want to increase use cannabinoids to heal yourself and the endocannabinoid system to begin that process, you're going to most likely need to change your diet and improve what you're eating. But also, when you do that, add more color, more purples, dark greens, darker vegetables, things that are colorful, because the color in the plants are also terpenes. So you're going to be drawing in those heavier amounts of terpenes within your body. And if you're taking your CBD consistently, it might be modulating the effect. It's entirely possible. And you will be improving your life. So I'm really, like, it's really amazing what we're learning about the endocannabinoid system and the things that are coming together that we can begin to use to heal ourselves. We have to understand the modulation and what's happening for us to want to do that. At least that's the way it is for me. Once I understand the mechanism, I am so happy to do it. Like, I understand what's going on. So the same thing here. Some people may not want to change their diet, may not want to change their life in certain ways. But once you understand how those ways can improve your life, you are more willing to do it. Once you understand those mechanisms, we have to understand the endocannabinoid system. It's important. And I'll be delving very deep into it, as deep as I can. I'll be doing some doctor interviews, trying to talk to some scientists. We're going to get to the bottom of some things here over the next few months or years of this channel. And we're going to make sure that the information is compiled for you guys to be able to absorb it. That's what's important. The final tip, simple, has to do with food. Use the mango trick. We've all, like those of us who've been a teenager or have smoked cannabis in the past, have heard of somebody eating mango before or after they smoke and getting a stronger effect. I mean, that's amazing. That's something that is true. You know, and so what's happening is the myrcene there is actually allowing the cannabinoids to pass through the blood-brain barrier much easier. So if you're dealing with anxiety, eat a mango and take your CBD and see how much more of an effect you get. Start playing with it a little bit, trying to dial in what works best for you. That's all that we're really doing here, is just giving you the tools trying to give you the ability to heal yourself and find what works best for you. So I want to thank you guys for coming and joining us. Really kind of even skimmed across the surface of what we're talking about with the cannabinoids and the synergistic effect there. But really understanding that synergy is there, that the ensemble effect is necessary, and that we need to be moving into this time, in this age of whole plant medicine and whole plant products, so that we're going to have a better ability to heal ourselves. So again, I want to thank you guys so much. Like it if you like. Share it, please. Add a comment if you have any questions, criticisms. I'm really good at constructive criticism, and I love it. If you have any ideas, please let me know. I'm going to be trying a few different styles of videos, trying to dial in what works best for me to get you guys the information that's necessary to not waste time, not be lied to, and not waste money when using hemp products to heal you and your family. Thank you so much. Have a beautiful day.